All right, Kelly. Hey. What is the most dad thing that you believe a dad has ever done?
Wow. I'm going to throw this out with my father telling me, and I don't know why this just popped in. And since we're going to talk about this because Father's Day just happened, my dad told me, sure, you can take the car to go down to the gas station to get a soda. I think I was going to buy cigarettes, let's be honest, because I smoked then. Don't shut the car off because I have an issue with my alternator. They had to like hit it with a hammer or something. And I'm like, okay, so what is your first knee-jerk reaction? Turn off the car. So now I'm stuck at a gas station. And this was before cell phones and stuff.
Right.
By myself. Well, I had my cigarettes, right? And the cashier wasn't going to come outside because it was one of the ones where you had to like pay through the freaking window. Mm-hmm. And my dad, in his infinite wisdom, got on a bicycle and rode over because I shut the fucking car off after he told me not to.
Oh my God.
I was like, I don't know, 12 o'clock. Carrying a hammer on a 10-speed bike that your kid probably hasn't rode in 5 years to hit my alternator with a hammer so that I could drive home. And then he proceeded to ride the bike home.
Oh,
that's my dad.
Gosh.
That's my dad.
I had a car in high school that we had to jumpstart the solenoid, like where you take a screwdriver and you touch the two contact points and you let the car start. That's funny that we had similar situations. Was this your first car?
No.
I think it was my second one.
It was my second.
No freaking way.
It was my second car. It was a Pontiac.
Oh, mine.
It was a Pontiac. It was my second one
because
my first one's a Jetta.
Mine was a Buick.
Was it?
Like my first three cars were Buicks. My dad had a Buick thing.
I started off with a Mercury Sable. And then I had saved up enough money. I went and I bought a Volkswagen Jetta.
Okay.
And the Mercury Sable was my dad's. I shouldn't say that. It wasn't my first car. It was the car they let me use until I could buy my first one. So my first one was the Jetta. My second one was this Pontiac. And then my third one was also a Pontiac. I really did like Pontiac.
Hey.
You know, they were nice looking. And but yeah, and he's like, why did you turn off the car? And I'm like, I don't know. It was a knee-jerk reaction. He goes, but I repeated it to you like 5 times before he left. And you even said, don't worry, I won't turn off the car.
Well,
like, okay, Dad. Sorry, Dad.
My dad, there was a time that I was probably 17. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, 17 probably. But anyway, I wrecked my very first car. And it was a Buick Century, by the way. Mm-hmm. It was kind of sad.
Was it blue?
No, it wasn't a Buick Century. It was a Buick Regal. That's what it was, a Buick Regal.
She was regal.
It was white, actually.
What is with white cars?
Let me tell you, I feel like I'm cursed every time I drive a white car.
Yeah, my Jeep is white. Look at me.
I had a white Chevy, like the little Blazer.
Yeah.
And I was driving it and it caught on fire.
Oh, God. And you're like, what do you do? What do you do?
Like,
what do I do?
You want to know what I did? I literally called my insurance company and I was like, is this covered? And she was like, well, yeah, but what are you doing? Are you driving? I was like, well, yeah, I just want to make sure it was covered before I stop and call the police. She's like, oh my God, get out of the car. And it was crazy too, because whenever the cops and the firemen arrived and everything, they used this heat gun and they made us like stand back. I guess they were afraid it was going to blow up or something. I had some kind of short in my dash. It was in the dash and it was crazy too, because I'm driving and I see flames like coming up in the exhaust holes.
She thought she was in Fast and Furious. She was
exhaust holes? Is that what they call it? I don't know. Yeah. No, defrost holes. My defrost holes. Whatever the fuck they are.
I'm sorry. I'm picturing Fast and Furious and you're screaming.
Oh no.
Dom's going to save you. Dom's going to save you.
I was running a paper route and I was just going slow past houses. And then all of a sudden I kept smelling and it smelled like hot wax. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And there was a short in the fuse box and fire.
She's like, and then she was like, are the newspapers covered under my insurance too?
Oh God. I think somebody else came and they ended up taking them in another car, or I had to get another car. And I don't know. It was ridiculous. I don't even remember, but I do remember the fire. That was crazy. But my dad, whenever I was growing up, he'd got me that Buick Regal and I rolled it. And then for prom, I got to drive my mom's minivan, which I was totally excited about because she had what I call princess parking, disabled parking. So everywhere we went to prom, I parked up front. I parked in the handicap parking. I know that's probably terrible. And shame on me.
What makes me laugh is today, did we or did we not stop at 2 different places and pretty much have preferential parking?
Yeah, we did, but they weren't princess parking. They were actual spots. We were good.
I know. I feel like our second stop to see our girls, that was almost like the world saying you need to come in here.
Exactly.
Because that whole thing
you saw
was
the
full.
sign just glowing open.
Yep. And all the parking lot was full.
Except for the spot.
The spot,
That's
which was right in front of the door.
You're not wrong. Well, so I was driving my mom's minivan and I was working at Walmart at the time. And that night, I'm not going to lie, I didn't tell my parents the truth that day, but I was hanging out with a boy.
Mom doesn't hear this now.
Yeah, I know, right? I was hanging out with a boy. And so it was after I got off my shift. And I think I got off at like 9:30 and I didn't leave there till like 10:30.
This is 24-hour Walmart, right?
Yeah, when they were 24 hours. Yep. It's sad. I know. So I'm starting to drive home and I get probably 4 miles from my house and I see this car fly past me. And I'm like, damn, they're in a hurry. And then I look in the rearview mirror and I see that car whip a fucking bitch. And I was like, motherfucker, I bet that's my parents.
Oh.
So I just drive home like I normally do, like obeying the speed limit, being good while this car's right on my ass. And I pull into the driveway and the car pulls into the driveway behind me. And it's my dad.
Oh, Jesus.
I cannot tell you, like in my mind, I feel like the way that he got out of the car reminds me of the way a Black Widow moves. Like he was very animatronic and his legs were like swinging out and he was so pissed and he chased me up the stairs. And I'm not even joking. He grabbed me by my hair and he said, Jennifer, where the fuck have you been? And I was just like, holy
you gotta
shit.
Go. You're like, I'm just going to go into my room.
He's like, what? Where have you been? You're in your mother's car and blah, 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 blah. And oh my God, that was the most dad that I've ever seen my dad be. And I mean, in retrospect, I think about a lot of things that my dad has been like awesome about. Obviously, he was pissed at me because I was out so late because I just made it sound like he totally abused me. But
he's like, I should yoked her up by her hair.
Like, he just grabbed me by my hair. Oh, he was so pissed. I don't know. There was many times that my dad was like instantly there for me though. Like the time that I was pregnant with Dalton and I got in a car accident, like I don't even think my dad beat the ambulance to the hospital.
Yeah. And
they called him from work.
that says something.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
There. That is dad love.
My dad has always been there. Since I've been an adult for sure. Whenever I was younger, he was in the military and I rarely ever saw him.
And that makes it hard.
One of the things that I particularly remember is whenever he went to Saudi, Mom and I we lived in Germany and I don't remember if my brother and sister, well, maybe my sister was born, but maybe not my brother. Either way. And my mom had this army picture of him that she sat on top of the fridge. And I used to crawl at night up on top of the fridge and hold his picture and cry.
Aww. You know, your dad's going to be sobbing in this episode. I'm sorry, Dad.
You know what? I don't think my dad listens to us. I got to be honest.
No, he does.
I don't think he does. Because I actually had a conversation with him and I told him, we've been recording the podcast. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. It's not in Espanol. No, I'm just kidding. I
don't know. The only Spanish I know is probably not worthy of anyone who can speak it. And it's probably swear words. And I might have just asked you for like salsa. I don't know. I don't know. I lived in Amsterdam. I lived in Amsterdam, which is it has a huge Hispanic culture there along with Polish and Ukrainian and everything else. And it was I lived there 15 years and it was wonderful across the board. But yeah, I could, if somebody was talking to me, then I could pick up most of the stuff, but like I couldn't speak it back and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't butcher a language for vanity anyways. So.
For me, sometimes I understand, like I can understand some of the words that are being said, so I can kind of follow a conversation, but I cannot converse. Are you all right over there?
Just itchy.
Okay. Just checking. Well, I think if we were to create the ultimate dad starter pack, like if you imagine all of the dads that you have encountered in your life. And by dads, we mean all facets of dads.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody is pushed into the role of dad. Sometimes somebody is actually the biological father. Sometimes a stepfather. Sometimes it's, you're the grandfather. I mean, there could just be a friend that is an amazing role model to a child.
And shows up because that's what's needed.
And then, I mean, there's even the dads who are just father figures. I mean, I think there's moms that could be considered dads. They take that role of the mom and the dad. There's always what's important is the dad who stayed, the dad who tried. And then, of course, we always have the dad that taught us what not to do.
Yep.
But if you were to make the ultimate dad starter pack, what do you feel like that would include? As I think of Jonathan, I always know there's going to be cargo shorts.
That's true.
Yes.
That is true. I'm picturing him right now in
his Crocs.
Oh, God, yes.
Yep. And a funny.
And that comes from his stepchild.
Funny t-shirt. Yep. And
I say bonus children. Bonus children. I don't like step. Nobody stepped on you. You're a bonus child.
The other thing is John's inability to throw anything away. Like John has this mentality. Oh yeah, I'll use it one day. And if he comes across a situation where he is like, I mean, it's like you think of those slow motion videos where it's like dun 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 dun, and it's just John slow mo running. There's that item I knew I'd need.
It's been 15 years, but he's going to hold that. He's going to hold on to that.
Exactly.
And then he's going to say, look, 15 years, you yelled at me 15 years ago, and here we are using it. And then you're like, how much money did we save?
Oh my God, the corner of this room
is
these
John's
are computers
stuff
that Jonathan had as a teenager. And I have told him many times, hey, what are we going to do with those? Oh, I might need something one day.
Well, hey, there could be a file on there that could literally be the key to like freaking ending world hunger.
Like the best thing that he could do is tell me he's got like some old Bitcoins or something in there that have just been accumulating money. And bam, fantastic. We're rich, baby.
Damn, that's what I'd like.
Jonathan, get on that.
You know what?
If you were to create the ultimate dad starter pack, I mean, there's other things that I feel like I would have to include because the one thing about my dad that always stood out to me, not just me, but my friends, and they always have talked about it. Even I still had a friend that spoke to me about it the other day. My dad has always had, because my dad is Puerto Rican, and so he has a strong accent. Yep. His English is a little broken at times.
Yeah, but I like when he calls and talks. I don't know what he's saying.
He's a mess.
But I'm like, just keep talking.
He's a mess. But I love him. And he's one of the people that always tells me that I talk too fast. He's like, you leave me a voicemail and I just hear blah, 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 bye. And I was like, okay. So he tells me that all the time. But if you listen to him talk in Spanish, like Puerto Ricans talk so freaking fast. No, maybe I think Mexican Spanish is a little faster than Puerto Rican Spanish.
And we're going to need a poll on
I don't know. But either way, I know that I might know like the dialect.
Or they're lying that they can. But
yeah, the dialect is very different. So there was a time whenever we were young and my friend and I were trying to go down to the creek and we wanted to go swim. And my dad was yelling at us for being out and I don't even remember what we were doing, but he was yelling at me and I backed up and I fell into a hole because we had horses and we had big wooden pillars in each part and then we'd have smaller posts throughout the fencing.
Yeah.
And so one of the posts was just being dug and I fell into the hole and it had just rained and the water splashed all over me. And my dad says, "There, you had your swimming." And my friend has said this to me so many times since then. And I mean, there's other words that my dad would pronounce funny. And my siblings and I would always give him a hard time about it. And I feel like he was probably so pissed every time we did it. But he did. He had a crazy accent. He said words really weird. So, and whenever I imagine the ultimate dad, I have to have like crazy accent and weird misspoken words.
I will tell you, and I'm gonna have to use my grandpa. Now, my grandparents lived in a different state, and we would go visit for like a week or two, and they lived on a lake. So my grandfather would put up this border of not wire, but like white string to keep the geese out of your yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, but like I just wanted to see if I could get these geese in this yard. And geese will come for any sort of food you have. Believe me, and they will hiss at you, and they are not friendly.
Geese are mean. I know.
Oh, I lured this one and I had dropped the string. I got him in. I brought the string back up. The whole time I'm tossing bread and crackers. Now, mind you, they can jump into the lake is right there. So like they could have went into the lake and went. They were very, very angry that I caught them into this little pen of this fucking string that my grandfather looked at me and I was like, and I was yelling and he had come running out and he said, Kelly Lynn, did you get those geese in there? And I said, I just wanted to see if it would work. And he goes, good luck then. And he shut the door and watched me run around the yard as there was two of them freaking chased me. One of them chased me and the other one enjoyed the bread I kept dropping. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you that was the singlest, scariest thing ever. And I ended up falling into the lake. Do you know that they'll still go into the lake when you fall in? Do you know that they're faster in the lake? They're faster in the lake. Anyways, it bit my ass.
Oh, my God.
And my grandpa said, now, what are we going to do? And I said, not mess with your string. And he said, good. You deserve that bite on your ass. And that was my grandpa for you. Did he do that to any of my other cousins? Probably not. Probably not. So if you guys listen, I never told anybody that grandpa let me get bit in the butt by a goose, but he let me get bit in the butt by a goose.
There was one time that my grandfather, you just made me think about, funny stories about the men in our lives. There was one time my grandfather told me I could drive my car out in the field and I will never forget. It sunk to the frame in the mud and we had to have a tractor come and pull it. And
then he's going, I never told her she could do that.
He's like, I don't know why you did stupid shit like that.
You're like,
oh
sad.
My God. I mean, not just that. There was another time that my grandfather got a brand new lawnmower, brand new riding lawnmower. And you know who he lets drive it? Me. Yep. And I was a bit of a daydreamer. So as I was going along in Arkansas, they have a lot of red rock. And it's like heavy. I don't know it's like clay, red rock. Yeah. And if
anyone wants to send me a piece of that, I'd totally be down.
Right. Hey, it's pretty cool. Well, whenever I was mowing, we had this patch of red rock that drifted off into our pond. And I thought to myself, oh my God, if I hit that red rock and it flies out to the blade, it's going to fly up and hit my brother in the head because my brother was out there playing. And so as I'm daydreaming, all of a sudden I'm wet. I drove into the fucking pond.
Oh, Jesus. Here you are worried about somebody else and then you ride it right into the pond.
And I didn't even freak out about being in the pond. I freaked out because I swore the fish were biting my legs. Did you? And I got out off the tractor and I just fucking ran home. Meanwhile, this lawnmower is just in there. Now,
how were you going to blame it? What were you going to say to your freaking grandpa? I don't know how it got in there. Oh, I would have been like, I don't know how it got in there. I told him I was daydreaming and I actually did it. And they gave me shit forever. Whenever I first started driving, oh my God. Like, is there water on the way?
Yeah, you're going to be able to make it off in there?
You're going to end up in the creek?
I can't even remember what they called me. They had a nickname for me for the longest time and I cannot remember what it was.
Hey, Dad, if you remember, please share. We would like to know.
Yes, please. Well, and I want to think on the opposite end of the spectrum because I do have an incredible stepdad. He has done so much for me. He has taught me so many things. I actually watched while he cleaned a deer, which is like the exact opposite of my dad. My dad, I don't think I'd ever see my dad clean a deer.
That's not he's not a hunter kind of guy.
Well, and I've gone out and I've gathered wood with my stepdad. I've hung out with him. He's just a very wise man. He always has great stories. And the thing that I love about him is that it doesn't matter the time of day. If you show up and you just sit with him, he will give you every bit of his attention. Yeah. And he will listen to you. And then not only that, but he'll retain it because he'll talk to you about it later and he'll follow up. And that's been really nice. And I mean, not that my dad isn't that, so I don't want to claim that. I mean, my dad does have his shining moments where I can talk to him about things. But honestly, my stepdad, Mike, he's been fantastic and he's amazing to my mom and he's fantastic with my kids. The kids have known him as Papa forever. So he's just an incredible addition to our life. Yes. And I mean, we were adults when they got together, but he's always been there for us. I mean, there's been times I've been able to call him and just talk to him and he's really good about it. I mean, even whenever I talk to my mom on the phone, I'm always like, hey, Pops, love you.
Yeah. And he always makes sure to at least, how are the kids? How's everything? What do you need? Kind of And my dad has actually been a stepdad to, hang on, let me count, 2, 4, 3, 5. Five other kids. I am my father's only biological child, and my father has 5 stepchildren. So I have 5 step siblings for all intents, and all of them are older than me. So and I am pointing that out. All of you are older than me. I'm
Everybody's
saying.
older.
Then I also like to point out
Kelly,
that,
I'm
that
the
it was
oldest.
Myself and my stepsister Cindy, who had boys for the longest time, and then my stepbrother Jeremy has a son now. And we're all not very close because we were adults, and we were adults when our parents got together, and my father married their mother, and there was 3 boys and a girl, and Cindy and I, we talked, but I don't live there, and that's the other thing.
Right.
I don't live in the same state. I live states away. And,
right. Yeah, that's
and
hard.
I mean, and there's some kind of trying, and we tried, but it was just, what are you supposed to do when you're an adult and you have adult friendships, and it's hard to maintain things. And we tried, and not for nothing, I love them all very much, and they're all still to me very much my siblings. And if they needed something and I can help, I'm there. Same with their mom. If she needed something and I could help, and I would, and regardless of how anything split up. The other 2, my mother and my other stepmom, both have passed on. So that's neither here nor there with them. And I do have a stepsister that lives in the same state as me. But again, everybody's so much older, and I don't know. Also,
right.
I was spoiled. I'm not going to lie. I was spoiled.
You were the baby.
I was the favorite. No, I'm the favorite. I'm the favorite. Look at me. Like, how could I not be the favorite?
Oh, Lord.
No, my father spoiled me.
Don't
spoiled
create
me
some
greatly.
sibling rivalry right now.
So, but at the end of the day, he wanted to be there, but he didn't. He never tried to overstep. In my opinion, with anyone else, he's like, "Hey, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here."
Right.
I'm not going to force anything upon you, and he never forced them to take me on as a sister role or anything. Even when he married, Faye, who he married after my mom had passed away, not right after, but time.
Yes.
And she had a daughter, like he had said the same thing. Like, I'm not looking for you to take on my child as your sister. I'm not looking for you to, right. be anything but a parental. And Faye took me on as her own child. I was for all intents and purposes. Faith was my mom. Mary, who gave birth to me, was my mother.
Right.
That's how we look at it. And my daughter's name is Faith Mary.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize she had both their names. That's awesome.
So, and Faye took care of me for a lot. She was my mom. So she was a step parent that stepped up, and it worked out wonderful for us. And then my father emulated the same thing and stood up for these other kids, but we were all grown up by this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of nice to know that, there are people who will just stand up and take on a role because they want to. It's not because they're forced to. It's not anything. There's no malicious feeling against it, because you did it because you wanted to. And that would even bring us into like John. John stood up, and John has, is a step parent to your 2 children and enjoys it, and it's great. I mean, we come over here and everybody's happy, and it's just a wonderful thing to see families that don't have to be what's thought of as a structure, a husband, a wife, children, a father, a mother, your children. It doesn't have to be that to be a family, because a family could be anything. It doesn't have to be blood. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, a force. It's a choice, a choice of love, and given freely because you want to. And that makes it amazing. And I think about like Tom, we had gotten married and we tried, and it took us 5 years before we had Dean. And then Faye came directly right after. I never even got a recovery time for that one. Mm-hmm. And he emulated, his father was military. So his father was gone for a huge chunk of time. And he had said he never wanted that for ours. And I was down. I mean, he worked night shifts. So a lot of stuff was me. But when he was home, he was always present for myself, for the kids. There was never a point in time where I was ever like, hey, you're not carrying the load, or hey, you're not helping, or hey, you're not being here. Right. He was there. He was there for everything he could be for. When Dean got sick and was hospitalized, it was just a really hard time because Faye was still an infant and Dean was a toddler, and he couldn't be left at the hospital alone. he had to work, and he worked at a factory job that was a continuous lava flow of glass. They made fiberglass, like Owens Corning or whatever, and he couldn't get the time off. And like there was people who in his department that had actually donated their time so that he had some time to be here. But I was like, look, the hospital's let me stay. Let's focus on, and my friend Samantha took Faye for the whole week and took care of her. And he went to work and he would come up to see us and everything else. And it was just a very miserable time and a very scary time. But like he held everything together and just kept us sane and everything else. And that's just something that you think about. I don't think I ever asked him once, like, how are you feeling? Like, what is your fear that every day you're leaving while our child is sitting, and Dean had to have a shot every 4 hours and he didn't sleep. And all he did was rock and sob because he couldn't figure out what was going on. He couldn't formulate the words. Every time somebody came in, it was a new level of somebody holding him down to give him shots, and I'm trying to soothe him. And then where do you relate, what's going on to like the traumas coming from? I don't know if he ever thought like every time it's my mom and my mom comes up towards my head, because that's where I would rub his head and kind of just rub his cheeks and stuff. He would know that they're going to hold me down to give me these shots.
Aw, poor guy.
But that didn't happen when Dad was here. So when Dad would show up, he was very much a daddy's boy.
He was the savior.
Yeah. And I don't hold that against. I like that. I like that very much for Tom to have that chance to be that hero.
Right.
For him. And I'll tell you what, and Faye is such a daddy's girl. Oh my God.
Well, man. And that comes into something else that I think we should discuss. Like, what are things that you think that dads possess that we could just kind of consider them like their superpower? Like, I know it's like John has this house on lock. He knows the moment that anybody changes the temperature.
I could see that. I could totally.
He does.
And the thing that gets me is this is you have a very large home. It is very stately. It was built back, 1800s? If not.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, for him to know that is insane.
Well, and then another talent that I believe that John possesses, or his superpower, is he has extensive knowledge and opinions about lawn care. Well, girl, if you could listen to him talk about his lines and how he makes them and how he breaks them apart, and how he... girl.
And then you're up in the sky and it makes a pattern of like
not even
the lighter green and the darker green and perfect.
But let me tell you what's even better than that. He took a compilation of all the cameras on the property and made it of him mowing out in the back. And he was like, he added music to it and everything. Like, he's like a little demo video of my work. He is the cutest thing, but he loves to freaking mow the yard. It's like his peaceful time, I think. When he hits
50, let's play that at the party. We'll just put it on the background behind him. John's greatest lawn care hits. And then we'll just play it the whole freaking night.
That was like Lewis's favorite thing to do too. His dad, he loved to be out there mowing the lawn, and they had to get him these little wind protectors for his cigars because he kept giving himself nicotine highs because he'd blow in the wind and his cigars would. Oh my God, isn't that hilarious? Like, he almost made himself sick with it. I know, right? So, I mean, that's just something. And I mean, not just that, not even dad's superpowers. Like, is there anything that Tom has that you just look and it's like his little superpower?
This man I could be literally setting the house on fire and freaking raging. And he's like, she'll be all right. You'll be all right. That'll all work out. I have never met somebody who can just like, I need to have that horrific anger panic. And he's like, yeah, I'll be all right.
I know, that's John too. He's so calm about it. He's like, no, we'll figure it out.
And I'm like, no.
I'm telling you, it's the male ability to only have one task open at a time.
It is. And it gets to me. And I got to tell you, all these years that I've known Tom, I think he's only yelled at me twice. Nope, 3. He yelled at me after surgery. And I'm gonna throw him out there because we went and he picked me up from surgery. So we go. And he has to get a sleep apnea machine.
Okay.
So it happens to still be in the same area of where we were with the hospital. So I said, all right, well, let's go over and do this now. Instead of driving 2 hours again, you drive me home and then come back and drive another 2 hours. That makes no sense. We might as well do it over here. Now, imagine I'm post-surgery and everything else. I didn't think the class was going to take that long, but that shit was like an hour and a half. And I am like, and we had a tornado. Did you know we had a tornado?
Yeah, we had a tornado last week. Yeah,
so that's happening while they're in this class. I am sitting in this chair because the gentleman came out and he's like, are you okay? Because I could not figure out how to sit in a chair. So I'm like on my hip, legs pointed out, one arm behind me, like paint me like one of your French girls as the wind is hitting the thing. And
with your sore butt.
With my sore butt. I can't figure it out. And then I end up, that was my bad day. I ended up getting a call about the job I wasn't going to get because this had happened. So I went and I left. I got in the car because I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was taking forever. And I just ended up calling him and he told me to knock it off. And I was like, I don't think you want to get in this car, motherfucker. And I hung up the fucking phone. He said, everybody heard you. He goes, I stood there for a minute. He goes, and everybody was looking at me. And he goes, I don't know if I can go out there and get in that car. He goes, the lady looked at me and said, I don't think you should go out there right away. He goes, I would give it a couple minutes. He goes, the guy that came out and saw you laying the weird way you were wearing goes, I would go get in that car right now. And then I would find someplace where you could get her something to eat. And he goes, and I wouldn't say jack shit to her in any rude way until she gets home. He goes, because I've heard that voice before. And if she can kill you on the way home and make it, she's probably gonna. He goes, I'm just telling you, as one man to another, go get in that car. And sure enough, he did come out. I did get my Diet Mountain Dew. Well, it was Diet Mountain Dew Baja Blast or that zero sugar one. Yeah. I do not like zero sugar one. And even when he came out, he was like, I'm sorry, they had limited stuff. It is at least a Mountain Dew. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't. I maybe took 4 sips and I was like, I'm sorry. I don't like the zero sugar one. I just don't. There's something with the way it tastes. I would have, and I'm not a big Baja Blast fan, which is weird because I do like Taco Bell. I don't like I like the Taco Bell's Baja Blast. Everyone else's tasted. It's like the spicy Sprite from McDonald's. I know we went a little off.
I'm like, what are you talking about, girl?
Anyways.
Well, no, I mean, is there, okay.
But his superpower was the patience he had. And I mean, and I rage. I literally, my father called. I'll tell you, my father called. The nurses come in, the doctor come in. So I said to my dad, could you hold on a second? Could you hold on a second? And he just kept talking. And finally, I just screamed into the phone, I need you to shut the fuck up. Stop fucking talking. Because the nurses are talking to me. The doctor's talking to me. My dad's still blathering on. And Tom just came over. He grabbed the phone and he walked out with it. And he wouldn't have had whatever conversation he had with my dad. And I did upset my father. And I ended up calling him back and I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm really stressed out. I don't know what's going on. And they're talking to me and the doctor's talking to me and you're still talking, but that was the thing. He was able to come in and he just kept his patience, kept everything. He went out, he took care of it and he came back in and he's like, you're going to have to call your dad when you're not in this state and you're going to have to apologize. He said, because that was fucking. He goes, I understand where you're coming from. I understand. He goes, but that was pretty fucking nasty. I'm like, all right. And then when I calmed down and he knew it, he walked over and he handed me my phone. And he said, I'm going to go do whatever he was going to go do. He goes, and you need to call and apologize. And he goes, and you need to do it now. And I was like, and he, I mean, he's never been stern with me. I mean, I just do what the fuck I want. So that was a point where I was like, all right, I knew he was serious and I did. And I called my dad and I apologized and we're all good now and everything. And he understood. And he's like, you got to understand that I'm stressed. That's what my dad was saying. He's like, I'm stressed because I'm not there and I can't get to you. So I'm relating anything that you're telling me or that I'm hearing from like what your uncles and aunts and cousins are seeing on Facebook and what Tom can tell me. When Tom can tell me, he's like, that's the news I'm getting. And I just wanted to hear from you. And he goes, and I understand you're stressed out and everything was an emergency and scare and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm sorry and . So we, like I said, we made up and everything. And then I called him for Father's Day and we had a nice conversation and everything. And I said, please pass on to all my uncles, happy Dad's Day and everything else. And, right. And it was really, and it was a nice to do all around. And I sat on the porch most of the day because it was a nice day, and just kind of thought about different ways and that I was excited that you were kidnapping me today. I thought a lot about that.
Yes, girl.
But about the different things, I mean, you're right. The amount of people who step up and in general thing but when men do it, especially for children that aren't theirs or for a family that they didn't, create, but take on because they want it to be the family that maybe they crave. But then look at it. How many times you're an avid Redditor, as am I. How many times men have stood up and took over for a biological father that is just crap, and then the daughter's getting married or there's an event and all of a sudden, like, here comes the biological dad and the stepdad gets, pushed to the side. And I feel like, how could you do that? Like, I don't feel, and I can't say I wouldn't do it because I've never been in the situation. Well, but what would drive you to take on somebody that hurt you that much and hurt somebody who had no horse in the game, or however you want to put it, no stake in it, but still stood up to make sure that you had braces or you had somebody standing there at your, your dance recital or sitting there holding your hand after you, it broke your foot falling off your fucking bike kind of thing.
And this kind of brings me to my next question that I had for you. What do you think it is that makes someone a good father? And I think that everything that you just said is exactly what makes a good father. And like we said about moms for Mother's Day, we said somebody who shows up. That's what matters. Someone who is a constant, a show up. They support you. They're there for you. They show up.
Yes.
What do you feel that the best dads in your life have taught you?
I have an uncle who has 5 kids. 5. I had to recount them. Sorry, Uncle Rick. And this man is, and it makes me laugh because when my dad came to visit, him and I had gone out to breakfast together. And you know how it is when you go out with me anywhere. I know somebody and I have to talk to everybody. Mm-hmm. He just laughed and said, had anything happened to him after my mom had passed away, that I was supposed to go to my Uncle Rick if my stepmom Faye didn't want to take me on. That was a stipulation. And he was like, you would have fit in as one of his kids, like you wouldn't believe. Not in the sense of like, and they're all very accomplished in their fields, like, engineering and teaching and doctoring and military. I mean, all across the board, they all have wonderful careers and wonderful marriages and wonderful children and everything. But he just said that personality thing of where you walk in, he goes, when I go out with my brother, so my uncle, I'm sorry. He goes, you do the same thing. Every table gets stopped at, every person gets talked to. Everybody knows something about you. You know everything about them. By the time we sit down, everybody knows you're there. And for some reason, we're not paying for breakfast.
Hey, that's always good.
I said, I know that's how I roll.
So do you think that he is a father that's in your life that has maybe changed things for you? A father figure that has made changes in your life?
I think when my grandparents had passed and then they had asked, what do you want? And it went through the family. There's a lot of cousins. So I had said to him, the only thing I wanted was my grandfather had a mounted piranha. And I don't know what it was. And I can remember exactly where it sat in his cabin over the little fireplace. And immediately I had to go stick my finger in that thing's mouth every year for my entire childhood. And my grandfather would come up behind me and goose me like the thing was going to bite me. And it would scare me every time. And that was the only thing I said I wanted. And do you know that man tore apart that entire garage and found me that thing? He couldn't even remember it. He actually went through and asked all his kids. He's like, what piranha? And it was my cousin Kimmy was like, oh, yeah, that weird fish that grandpa kept on the mantle. And my uncle's like, I don't remember it. And she was like, no. And she showed it. She was like, this is where it was. And da. And she was like, Kelly Lynn liked to stick her finger in there and grandpa hated it. So he would goose her. So she would get scared and stop doing it. But she did it every time. So I guess it didn't scare her. And he literally went through absolutely everything and found it. And I have it.
That's hilarious.
And next time you come over, I'll show it to you.
Okay,
you can stick your finger in its mouth.
My stepdad has a deer head mounted, a rack in the head and everything mounted. And we always are touching it. And he'll always sneak up on you and grab you really quick. Like, yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I think that if I was to say that a father figure has changed my life in a way, I really have to give a lot to John because he's been fantastic. There's a lot of things that he's taken on and he didn't have to. And he has just continually given and given. And I am forever grateful. And he's changed my outlook on life in general because, like, honestly, I really thought that I would just be alone for the rest of my life. And I was okay with it. Like, I wasn't dreading it or being upset with it. I was okay with it.
About it, and you were like, all right,
I was like, this is cool. So, I mean, honestly, he really has made a big difference in my life and in the kids' lives. And he's just a really good guy.
And he had a wonderful role model in his father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Lewis was an amazing person. I was lucky to get to meet him and sit behind him in church, and we fell asleep together. You know,
he's a great man. I agree. And the town proved that. The town proved that.
Manhattan and pie.
Yep, he loved his Manhattans and his pie. Well, we would just want to say to the dads, the stepdads, the bonus dads, the grandpas, the uncles, the coaches, and the father figures who choose to show up, truly, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And we also want to ask our audience, what's one thing that a dad taught you that you can still carry with you today? We'd like to hear the things that dads have done to influence you, and advice that you've carried for your whole life, or a difference that somebody made in your life, and you just feel like they need recognition for that. Like we said, the most important part is showing up. And there is many men in our lives that have proven that they can show up, and they continuously show up. So for that, we definitely appreciate you. And take time to love yourself. You know, don't think that you're being selfish and taking a moment for yourself, because sometimes that's important. You need to have your own life outside of this identity of being the father figure in our lives. But again, we appreciate you. But with that, we hope you guys have a wonderful day, and girl bye.